Hello, buds. Crockpots are something that every Don't Starve YouTuber will tell you not to sleep on. I myself have stated numerous times to utilize this thing as much as possible. But what is the best crockpot dish in Don't Starve? Well, today, we are going to talk about every single crockpot dish, starting with Don't Starve Together's dishes, before moving on to Warley's dishes, and then finally ending with the single-player exclusives. Yes, that's right, when I said every crockpot dish, I meant every crockpot dish. Let's begin. First up, bacon and eggs. This dish provides 75 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity that most crockpot dishes will provide. This dish will also last a very long time before spoiling. Costing some meat and some eggs, it's relatively cheap to mass produce if you have a bird laying around in a cage. And because it's Wilson's favorite, you know I gotta put this bad boy in A tier. It's great all around, but it is outclassed by other dishes because, well, it uses eggs, which can be a little niche. Really, the big thing about this dish is the spoilage time, because it will last a very, very long time, even outside of an ice box. Next up, we have Dragon Pie. It gives you 75 hunger, 40 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It spoils relatively slowly as well. Unfortunately, dragon pies are a bit harder to mass produce with the farming changes in Don't Starve Together, but it's still good enough to warrant a B tier because let's face it, well, the recipe is pretty cheap, as you can see. And I mean, if you have dragon fruits at hand, by all means, make this dish. It is hands down the best way to utilize dragon fruit. I just wouldn't go out of my way to farm dragon fruit specifically for this dish because of their seasonal requirements and how long farming takes in Don't Starve Together. Also, just an added note, I'm going to rank these hybrid Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together dishes primarily for Don't Starve Together because, let's face it, that's what most of you guys are playing. And honestly, for everything except for the farming dishes like this one, the rankings would be the same. I would probably rank this one a little higher in Don't Starve single player, but you know, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, moving on now that that disclaimer's out of the way. Next up, we have Butter Muffin. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It spoils slowly as well. Now, I personally think that Butter Muffin is criminally slept on. Butterfly wings on their own are a great source of food and health, but with just a mushroom and some twigs, you can make it even better. If you aren't in a pinch, or if you're playing as WX78 who gets 15 extra hunger from this dish and Don't Starve Together, then I mean, why are you not making it? I'm gonna give it a solid A tier. Next up, we have Fistful of Jam. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also surprisingly spoils pretty slowly despite what you would believe because its ingredients spoil really fast when they're in cooked form, but whatever, you're gonna see that as a recurring theme. Spoiling time is kinda weird in this game. Fistful of Jam is a punishment dish, as unless you use ice as filler, it's always better to just cook and eat the berries or fruit you would have used, so in turn, this is an F tier dish. It's almost always not worth it to make it. Next up, we have Fish Tacos. These things give you 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They also spoil pretty fast. They require corn, which while easy to grow, you still have to go out of your way for, and unfortunately, it's one of the many dishes that hardly are useful in terms of hunger. I actually don't know if you can go positive on hunger. I think it's like very little, even with the twig recipe that I'm showing. But either way, the only reason to make this dish is for the health benefits over its raw ingredients. But 20 health isn't really all that big of a deal, so I would consider this dish a C tier dish. It's totally safe to forget this thing exists, and if you're going for hunger, absolutely avoid it at all costs. The other OG fish-based dish is fish sticks. These provide 37.5 hunger, 40 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They spoil in 10 days, which isn't great, but it's not the fastest by any means, so there's that. And because their recipe is surprisingly cheap, and they give you some decent health, I'm honestly gonna put them in B tier. I wouldn't go out of my way for them, but if you have fish, this isn't the worst dish to turn them into if health is your goal. Hunger-wise, they do kinda suck though, hence why they are in B tier, but come on, it's efficient, it works. If you have fish, it's not horrible. Next up, we have Froggle Bunwich. This sandwich provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also spoils pretty slowly at 15 days. The thing about Froggle Bunwich is that it's sort of a replacement dish. You see, frog legs can be used to make meatballs, which are much better if hunger is your goal. However, for health, Froggle Bunwich isn't all that bad, especially because you can use veggies that suck, like red caps, to make it. I'm gonna give it a healthy C tier ranking. Situational, but not too bad. Next up, we have Fruit Medley. I'm gonna be honest, I always thought this was a Shipwrecked exclusive dish. I'm actually kind of surprised it's a vanilla dish, but either way, it provides 25 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also spoils incredibly fast at only 6 days. Now, Fruit Medley is low-key kind of expensive because you have to use a farm fruit to make it. Berries just won't cut it because they do not provide enough fruit value. And for what it gives you, it's just simply not worth it. I guess it's not a horrible way to convert non-healing fruits into health though, if you really need it, so I'll give it D tier. Yes, I do know that it cools you down in summer, but honestly, I'm gonna ignore the temperature effects from food in this video because, let's be real, when's the last time you ate meaty stew to stay warm? Or Fruit Medley to stay cool? I mean, I guess I did rely on Fruit Medley pretty heavily in my volcano only challenge, but that's such a niche thing that I'm not really gonna factor it because I don't think everybody's doing volcano challenge videos. Plus, that's in Shipwrecked. This is Don't Starve Together and vanilla, but yeah, whatever. Let's move on. Next up, let's talk about the OG honey dishes. Starting with honey ham. This dish provides a whopping 75 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also lasts a surprisingly long time. Now, honey ham is a little expensive in the meat category, and honestly, I mean, it's an alright dish. If you use at least one monster meat, it is worth it. But I don't really see myself going out of my way to make honey hams. I'd much rather make meatballs. So I'm gonna give it a B tier. It's solid. If you don't add enough meat to the crockpot, you'll instead get honey nuggets. And these things, well, they provide 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity, while also spoiling in the same time that the big ham takes. On paper, they aren't that bad, especially if you're using poisonous ingredients that are normally inedible. But honestly, the food value you get is just not worth using the meat for. I know I sound like a top tier meatball glazer, but really you should just be making meatballs. It does have alright healing though, and if you're playing as Woody, you do actually get like 15 extra hunger from it if you're in Don't Starve Together, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. Next up we have Taffy. Taffy provides 25 hunger, takes away 3 health, and is the first dish on this list to provide more than the standard sanity at 15 sanity a pop. Taffy, surprisingly, only lasts like 15 days. Honestly, I feel like that should be increased because Taffy does have a pretty long shelf life in real life, but if that was the case, most of these spoilage times would be super low anyway. So maybe not having realism is good, but I will complain a little later on some of the other dishes. Either way, Taffy is one of those dishes that is really situational. In times where you need sanity, it's great because it's one of the few crockpot dishes that provide a decent amount of sanity. At the same time, 15 sanity a pop is not going to save you that much. I'm still gonna give it a B tier because it holds a special place in my heart as my caving food of choice, but really there are better sanity dishes out there, so just keep that in mind. It's probably like an early game sanity dish when you have B boxes and not much else going for you. Continuing on our honey theme, next we have pumpkin cookies. 37.5 hunger, 0 health, and 15 sanity, while lasting only 10 days. Which I guess makes sense, because homemade baked goods usually don't last that long anyway. Now here's the problem with pumpkin cookies. Pumpkin cookies provide 37.5 hunger, but a raw pumpkin also provides 37.5 hunger. You see what I'm getting at here? This is one of the few dishes that always gives you a net negative in terms of hunger. There is no way to efficiently make this dish. And honestly, if you want sanity, you could just save the honey and make taffy, and then you could just cook the pumpkin over a fire to heal the damage that you would take from the taffy, and more. This is a D tier dish. I'm only giving it a D tier because, yes, you do at least profit sanity-wise, but really, I don't know. It's not a good dish. Don't go out of your way to make pumpkin cookies. Next up, we have powder cake. This dish provides 0 hunger, it costs you 3 health, and it also provides 0 sanity. On the bright side, it does take 18,700 days to spoil. For reference, a day in Don't Starve is 8 minutes long, so with no time skip shenanigans and barring winter and summer's effect on spoilage time, you would have to play on a world for 2,500 hours in order to see a powder cake spoil naturally. So this is just a meme item, right? Well, surprisingly, it does have a good use case, and that is that it works as bait for almost every creature that eats food, making it useful for farms like the incredible inedible farm that attracts gobblers and stuff. Still, I can't in good faith give it anything higher than a D tier, because even with its niche use, it's not something I would go out of my way to make, unlike this next dish. Meatballs are the poster child of Don't Starve's Crockpot system, and for a very good reason. They provide 62.5 hunger, 3 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They also spoil in around 10 days. At first it seems pretty mediocre, until you realize meatballs are by far the most hunger effective food out there. Well, it's not the most hunger effective food, but it is the easiest one to obtain. You can use entirely inedible food items, like 1 monster meat and 3 red caps, and turn it into what should almost be half your entire hunger bar. It's also super easy to remember the recipe, 1 meat and 3 filler. Of course, in Don't Starve Together, you do have to be careful not to use ice with morsels because that will result in a different dish that I'll talk about later, but otherwise, it is absolutely free hunger. I'm gonna give it an S tier. You didn't expect anything different, right? Come on now. But I will say that there are some dishes on this list that will give it a bit of a run for its money. Team Fortress 2 is a 2007 multiplayer first-person shooter game developed and published by Valve Corporation. It has no correlation to this next dish, Ratatouille, which provides 25 hunger, 3 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling in 15 days. Ratatouille is a punishment dish, much like Fistful of Jam. It's only really useful if you're using ice as filler, or in this case, poisonous ingredients as well, like red caps. I'm gonna give it an F tier. It's really, you shouldn't be wasting valuable filler on this dish. Next up, we have a little bit of a wild card dish, and that is kebabs. These provide 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They also take 15 days to spoil. Kebabs are, well, honestly, I forgot they even existed, and that's because if you just replace the twig with anything edible, it will become meatballs, which is so much more efficient for hunger. It's an alright dish that's overshadowed heavily by meatballs, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a D tier. I guess if you are really scraping the barrel, it's not horrible, but like, just replace the twig with like a mushroom or something. Get yourself some meatballs. I don't know. Moving back to the very meaty dishes, we have the aptly named Meaty Stew. This dish provides a whopping 150 hunger, 12 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also spoils surprisingly slow for a wet meat-based object. Meaty Stew is basically what happens if you just put a ton of meat value items together and don't accidentally make something else. It's quick, efficient 9 times out of 10, and it just works. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an S tier. Unless you play as a character who has less than 150 max hunger, then it's a little wasted, so don't eat this as those characters, but most characters have at least 150 or more hunger. Next up, we have what many Don't Starve veterans tout is the best healing dish in the game, pierogi. Pierogi provide 37.5 hunger, 40 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They also take a whopping whole season to spoil, which is kind of insane. Now, pierogi is considered good because, well, the ingredients are not hard to mass produce, and honestly, the healing is pretty great for what you put into it. I have nothing to complain about, so I'm just gonna give them an S tier. I never go out of my way to make them since I'll usually rely on raw blue caps for most of my healing since I'm lazy as hell, But hey, if you're patient, these are much, much better than eating those raw blue caps, especially if you can't deal with insanity. Next up, we have stuffed eggplant. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It lasts about 15 days. This dish, much like pumpkin cookies, absolutely sucks for hunger. Unlike pumpkin cookies, however, this dish doesn't even give you a sanity benefit. The only niche use this food has is converting meat into a veggie dish so that Wirt can eat it. Despite the recipe literally requiring meat, I'm not sure why Wirt can eat this. For normal circumstances, you're almost always better off just eating the eggplant separately and using the other ingredients in other dishes. It's going in F tier. Next up, we have turkey dinner. This dish provides 75 hunger, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also spoils relatively fast. Turkey dinner is one of those niche dishes because, well, you have to go out of your way to either defeat a gobbler for it or a moose goose. It's not a horrible dish by any means, but because drumsticks aren't exactly all over the place, I'm gonna go ahead and give it B tier. Situational at best, and not really something I would, again, go out of my way for, but definitely not horrible if you've got the drums, and it's probably one of the best uses for the drums. Just remember that you cannot use fried drumsticks to make this, they have to be raw. I'm not sure why, but oh well. Next up, we have unagi, a dish that you probably forgot even existed. Again, there's a few of those on this list. It provides 18.75 hunger, which is weird, 20 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also lasts around 10 days. Unagi is a very unique dish because it's pretty much the sole use of cave lichen. And I mean, while the stats it gives are mediocre, and I actually don't think it's possible to get a net positive on hunger for this dish, having a source of healing that can be cooked fresh in one of the most dangerous parts of the caves on demand is pretty good. But due to the setup you have to do, I still think it's really situational, since most of the time you can just eat the lichen and deal with the sanity downsides later if you have enough sanity in the bank. So I'll settle for C tier. If you can make it, great. If not, forget about it. Next up, we've got waffles. Waffles provide 37.5 hunger, a whopping, waffles, whopping, whatever, 60 health, and the standard 5 sanity. They also spoil relatively fast. Waffles are the first dish on this list that use butter. Now, based on the stats, I'm sure you would expect me to rank this dish pretty high, right? However, I'm actually going to put it in D tier. Butter on its own provides 40 health, and while, yeah, 20 extra HP is nothing to scoff at, due to the fact that waffles spoil significantly faster than raw butter, I think it's just not worth seeking out. I also think there's better uses for butter. I'm still going to give it a D tier because, well, if you're safe at base and really need that extra 20 health right then and there, then sure, I can see the use case. Or if you're playing vanilla Don't Starve, where this is literally your only butter dish, so there's that as well. But if you're in Don't Starve together, there are better uses for butter, so just hold on to it. Next up, we have Monster Lasagna. This dish provides 37.5 hunger at the cost of 20 health and 20 sanity. It also spoils relatively fast. This dish is straight up, obviously horrible, and it's meant to be. It's a punishment dish for putting 2 or more monster foods in a crockpot without checking the priority of the dish you were trying to create. It's not even a good dish for Weber, since cooking and eating monster meat straight up is always simply the better option for him. So, I mean, understandably, this dish gets an F tier. Next up, we have Mandrake Soup, providing a whopping 150 hunger, 100 health, and the standard 5 sanity, while spoiling incredibly fast. Mandrake soup is something that on paper looks like a superfood, until you realize it uses mandrakes. And there's the problem. Mandrakes are not only far better used for things such as pan flutes, but if you really wanted to eat your mandrake, a cooked mandrake provides the same benefits, save for the 5 sanity, which really who cares about that, while also never spoiling. Now, I'm not saying cook your mandrakes, okay? That's gonna get you kicked from servers. But in terms of food and health, this dish absolutely sucks compared to its main ingredient. So, it's understandably going in F tier. It's a very hidden punishment dish. The final vanilla dish we're going to talk about is wet goop. which provides 0 hunger, 0 health, and 0 sanity. It also, unsurprisingly, spoils very fast. Wet goop is what happens when you mess up a dish and make something invalid. As such, it's a punishment dish, and an easy F tier, so avoid it if you can. Unfortunately, if you're new to the game, you'll probably run into this dish a few times while experimenting. But I mean, hopefully this video helps out, huh? Now we're moving on to dishes introduced in the Reign of Giants DLC. These dishes are all still in Don't Starve Together as well, and that will be the basis for our rankings. Starting with flour salad. It provides 12.5 hunger, 40 health, and the standard 5 sanity. It also spoils relatively quickly. Flour salad is only obtainable in summer because it uses cactus flowers, which only bloom in summer. And as such, it's another very situational dish. Because of its quick spoilage time, I can't say that this dish is good for anything except in-base healing and giving to Pearl for her quests. But while it still does have a use, I'm gonna go ahead and give it D tier. If it didn't spoil so fast or wasn't locked behind summer, it would be a lot better, but as it stands, it's just not really that good. Next up, we have guacamole. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and surprisingly is one of the few dishes to provide 0 sanity. It also spoils at a moderate rate. Guacamole feels like such a filler food with honestly missed potential, because the ingredients are strange, to say the least. You need a live mole, which can't really be mass-produced. Not that you'd want to mass-produce this dish, I mean, it's not an egregious dish, but it's definitely a don't go out of your way to make it type dish. So, you know what? I'll go ahead and put it in D tier. It sucks, but it still comes out net positive most of the time, I guess, if you're smart with it, but yeah, I don't know actually with this one. I could flip between F tier as well because moles are a lot better in other things, but I've been talking about this dish for way too long. Just don't make it. It sucks. Move on. Next up, we have ice cream. It provides 25 hunger, 0 health, and a whopping 50 sanity. It also spoils incredibly fast, which is to be expected. Ice cream is another dish that requires dairy, and honestly, here is a better place to put that butter to use. Surprisingly, butter is considered, well, that's not surprising that butter is considered dairy, but you can use butter to make ice cream, which is quite silly. Either way, ice cream is one of the best sanity foods in the game if you're looking for a quick reset and have the dairy on hand. Of course, it's not great due to it being limited by dairy, which is pretty hard to get in Don't Starve, but if you can make it, it's not all that bad. B tier. Next up, we've got melon sickle. This dish provides 12.5 hunger, 3 health, and 20 sanity. It also spoils pretty fast. Melon sickle is purely a sanity dish, as it provides exactly as much hunger as a watermelon, meaning you would get more food value from just eating a watermelon and the ice raw together. Because it's so hyper niche, much like pumpkin cookies, I'm gonna throw it in D tier. There's plenty of better dishes to be going towards that will fill much more stats and be more efficient. Next up, we have spicy chili. Spicy chili provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 0 sanity. It also spoils in around 10 days. Spicy chili is literally just Froggle Bunwich if it was more accessible, and had a weird and forgettable temperature manipulation effect that does basically nothing. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Usually it's only worth it to make this dish for health, much like Froggle Bunwich. But again, if you want to get hunger, then just make meatballs. You have the ingredients, you just gotta rearrange them a little bit. The final Reign of Giants dish that we are going to cover is trail mix. This dish provides 12.5 hunger, 30 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils pretty slowly, which is to be expected. This, in my opinion, is basically a poor man's pierogi. You do get 10 less health, but the ingredients are super easy to come by in autumn thanks to the abundance of birch trees. However, I can't say that it's better than pierogi because of the fact that, well, outside of autumn, you cannot reliably create this dish. But during autumn, it's great, which is usually the time when people are rushing all of the stuff that they have to fight anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A tier. Alright, now it's time to move on to Don't Starve Together exclusive dishes. Oh my goodness, my English just broke there for a second. Anyways, we're gonna be starting first with the banana dishes. Banana Shake provides 25 hunger, 8 health, and a whopping 33 sanity. It also weirdly spoils slowly, but you know what, hey, I'm not complaining. This is one of, if not the best banana dishes in the game, due to how ridiculously cheap its recipe is, and while yes, bananas can be hard to acquire up until you found the Monkey Island, or Jimbo, once you do have them, you basically never have to worry about sanity again because of this dish. So it is an easy S tier. Next up, we've got Frozen Banana Daiquiri. It provides 18.75 hunger, 30 health, and 15 sanity. I don't know what's up with Don't Starve Together exclusives, but it seems like Clay also kinda gave up on realistic spoilage time for these guys. Again, I'm not complaining, I'm just making an observation. While I personally don't believe this dish is as good as Shakes because ice is a little harder to acquire en masse than twigs, I still respect it as a healing option. Especially because somehow, it lasts only 5 days shorter than pierogi. Again, somehow, it's a frozen drink and it's lasting 15 days. I don't really get it. Either way, I'll give it an A tier. It's awesome. Next up, let's talk about some barnacle dishes that you've probably never heard about because nobody goes and gets barnacles. Barnacle nigiri provides 37.5 hunger, a whopping 40 health, and 15 sanity. It also, again, surprisingly for being a sushi and egg dish, spoils pretty slowly. This is probably the worst barnacle dish in my eyes due to its ingredient requirement, but to be honest, none of these dishes are really worth seeking out barnacles at all. However, if you just so happen to have barnacles at your house and some eggs and some kelp and need exactly 40 health, well, it's there, but you could also just make much more mass-producible pierogi and not have to deal with seaweeds. I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's not useless, it's just way too much effort. Next up, we have Barnacle Pita. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling way slower than it should yet again. Barnacle Pita is alright, I guess. It's cheaper than the previous dish by a large margin, while still providing decent stats. And all things considered, this is probably the most efficient barnacle recipe in the game. But again, it's just not worth going out of your way for barnacles. I'm gonna give it a C tier. The next barnacle dish is Barnacle Linguine. This dish provides 75 hunger, 30 health, and 20 sanity. Unlike many of the previous dishes, for some reason this one actually does spoil pretty fast. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, spoilage times are kind of all over the place for a lot of these dishes. Either way, Barnacle Linguine is, by stats alone, the best barnacle dish you can acquire. However, due to its ingredients, it is quite expensive. The problem with using veggie value is that veggies on their own are usually very filling, so I don't think this dish is really worth it, and as such, I'm gonna give it a D tier. Moving on now, let's talk about Bunny Stew. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity. It also lasts for 10 days. Bunny Stew was largely seen as a meatball nerf, since now if you use ice as filler and small meats as your meat value, you'll get this dish. And while it's true that the hunger value gained is much less, honestly I think situationally Bunny Stew could be good for you. It's still hunger efficient, and it's also not a horrible source of health. If you're hurting and have ice and some morsels, I mean, go for it. It's not that bad. I'm gonna give it a B tier. Next up, we have Creamy Potato Puree, better known as mashed potatoes. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. Creamy Potato Puree is the jerky of vegetables, refreshing all of your stats moderately well. The only issue is that you need to farm for it, which most players just aren't doing. It's a great, well-balanced dish, just locked behind a mechanic that most players forget about. And you'll really only see this dish being made by Worley players who just spawned in because for some reason, Worley spawns with exactly what he needs to make it. Either way, I'm gonna still give this dish a B tier. It's really one of those if you've got the things, go for it dishes, but honestly, I could see why some people would hunt it down too. It is well-rounded and it lasts for so long. Next up, we have Fancy Spiraled Tubers. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils faster than potato puree, which is kinda weird. However, that can be attributed to garlic being a natural preservative, so I'll let it slide. Spiraled tubers are incredibly cheap, filling, and will give you some sanity. But it's not very healthy compared to its raw ingredients. It's kinda like the ramen noodles of DST. Yes, it is locked behind farming, but I can't in good faith give this less than an A tier because it is still one of the best potato dishes in the game. It's easy sanity, it's really cheap, and it just works. It's a good dish, okay? It's good. Next up, we're gonna start talking about the fig dishes, starting with fig kebab. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling in 15 days. Out of all the fig dishes, fig kebabs aren't horrible, and you can usually turn a profit if you use low quality meats as filler. However, figs in general are just too out of the way to go for, so none of these dishes will get that high of a ranking, since only long-term players who grow their own fig trees are going to ever see figs. This is on the lower end of the fig dishes too, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in D tier. Next up is Figgy Frog Witch. It provides 25 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling in 15 days. This dish absolutely baffles me. How does adding fig to a Froggle Bun Witch make it worse in terms of hunger? Yeah, this is just an automatic F tier. Literally just make Froggle Bun Witch if you have spare frog legs and want to heal. Like, I seriously just do not understand this dish. Why does a more exotic ingredient make it suck? I hate this dish. This dish should not exist. Whatever, I'm done. I'm moving on to the next fig dish. Next up, we have Figatoni. Figatoni provides a very strange and specific 56.25 hunger, 30 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils pretty rapidly. Out of all the fig-based dishes, Figatoni makes the most sense to make. It gives decent stats all around, and its recipe is pretty simple and easy to produce. If you have figs, this is probably the best bang for your buck here. I'll go ahead and give it a solid B tier. It's only held back by the fact that it takes figs, which you're really never gonna see again unless you're a long-term player. And let's be honest, most of you are resetting your worlds way before you ever grow your own fig tree. The final fig dish is the most interesting, Fig Stuffed Trunk. It provides 150 hunger, 60 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. It's definitely a huge stat dish, however it requires a Koalefant trunk, which you'll really have to go out of your way to get since that requires doing a whole hunt. Honestly, for its cost, it's actually a pretty good dish, and if you are an owner of a fig tree, it may actually make hunts worth it since you can fill your hunger and most of your health efficiently. But again, it's one of those dishes that you really have to go out of your way for. And it's not a huge improvement over just eating a cooked trunk, but since it's the only thing you can really use cooked Koalefant trunks for, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B tier. Next up, we are going to talk about the leafy meat dishes, starting with beefy greens. This dish provides 75 hunger, 40 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. Beefy greens, while being relatively expensive, are actually a pretty good use of leafy meat. And I mean, if you've got the ingredients, there's not much I have to complain about this dish. Great hunger, great healing, I'll throw it in A tier. The next leafy dish is jelly salad. It provides 37.5 hunger, 0 health, and a whopping 50 sanity. It also spoils pretty quick at 6 days. This is by far one of the best sanity foods in the entire game. And on top of that, both of its ingredients can be reliably farmed in mass. What's not to love, man? It's an easy S tier dish. This is what your leafy meat should be going towards. If you need sanity, that is. Otherwise, you can go for the other one that we just talked about. Next, we have leafy meatloaf. It provides 37.5 hunger, 8 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils incredibly slow at 20 days. Unfortunately, leafy meatloaf is a punishment dish. Designed to stop players from using leafy meat to make the much more valuable meat-based dishes. Oh my goodness, tongue twisters, man. And as such, it is quite inefficient in terms of values across the board. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in F tier. The final leafy dish is going to be Veggie Burger. It provides 37.5 hunger, 30 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 6 days. Unfortunately, you do need an onion for this dish, which means you have to engage with farming to get your hands on this dish. And honestly, if you're gonna go that far, I would suggest just going for creamy potato puree due to its longer shelf life. And then just save your leafy meat for jelly or beefy greens. I'm gonna give this one a D tier. It works, it's got better counterparts. Next up, we have jelly beans. They provide 0 hunger, 2 health, and 5 sanity. They also never spoil. On paper, this dish seems horrible, but veterans will know that it's actually one of the best dishes in the game. Why? Well, that's because while it only provides 2 health initially, it actually also provides a whopping 120 extra health on top of that over the course of 2 minutes, giving you a regeneration effect. It's one of the best healing dishes in the game, and it alone makes Bee Queen worth fighting, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it an S tier. Hey, real quick by the way, if you made it this far in the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, that would be super cool. Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. Next up, we have Mushy Cake. It provides 25 hunger, 0 health, and 10 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. Mushy Cake is the first Crockpot dish that's truly unique. Stat-wise, it sucks, but you're not making this dish for its stats. Mushy Cake has a special effect in that it will prevent you from getting sleepy for a while after you eat it, making it incredibly useful for fighting Celestial Champion and the Celestial Scion. Although be careful with Celestial Champion, because I think if you get caught in the blue ring of death with this effect on you, you'll just get shredded. Although you could also use it on the true endgame boss, which is Out of Season Berger. Sure, that's not something you do every day in Don't Starve. You don't always fight the endgame bosses or Berger out of season. But you know what? I have a soft spot for unique Crockpot dishes and not just stat slop, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A tier. It's super situational, but in the situations you need it for, it is awesome. A bit of a hassle to acquire en masse though. You need all 4 mushrooms, so yeah. Next up, we have Plain Omelet. It provides 50 hunger, 3 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days, which again doesn't make sense for an egg-based dish, but okay. This dish is another attempted nerf to meatballs, since if you use 3 eggs, it will always result in this mediocre dish. But it's not like I would ever suggest making meatballs with 3 eggs anyway. If you have eggs, pierogi are always better. For health at least, I guess not for hunger, but either way, this dish is always, it's bad. I mean, it's gonna get a D tier. It sucks, but if all you have is a bunch of eggs, it is actually quite filling. Better than eating the ingredients, so that's why it's in D tier and not F tier. Next up, we have Salsa Fresca. It provides 25 hunger, 3 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. Salsa Fresca is another dish that requires farming, and honestly, it's not horrible. I mean, it's a sanity dish, pretty much on par with the next recipe we're going to talk about. But regardless, if you have the ingredients and need sanity, go ahead and make it. It's not a bad dish, it's just you have to farm. I'm gonna give it a B tier. Next up, we have Vegetable Stinger. It provides 25 hunger, 3 health, and 33 sanity, while also spoiling in 15 days. That sounds pretty familiar, right? Yeah, that's right, it's just another form of salsa fresca. And as such, it's another one of those, if you have the ingredients and need sanity, go ahead and make it dishes. So I'll give it the exact same B tier. Next up, we have Soothing Tea. It provides 0 hunger, 3 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils very quickly. Soothing Tea is another stat regeneration dish because it provides an extra 30 sanity over the course of a minute. As a fun fact, this dish is actually one of the best dishes for Wartox in terms of sanity because the regen is not affected by his mortal food penalty. And overall, turning a useless weed into sanity really isn't all that bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A tier. Next up, we have Stuffed Fish Heads, which is a barnacle dish that I forgot to add to the barnacle section because I forgot it existed. It provides 75 hunger, 20 health, and 0 sanity. It also spoils in a mere 3 days, which is really quick. Of course, it requires barnacles, so that alone is going to dock it some points in the ranking, but for a fully ocean-based dish, it's not horrible. I mean, I could see you using this to stretch out your ocean journey. You know, if there was anything to do in the oceans of Don't Starve Together. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it a C tier. It's situational at best, but effective nonetheless. Hey, that rhymed. Next up, we have tall Scotch eggs. This dish provides a whopping 150 hunger, 60 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. This is by far one of the most stat-efficient dishes in the entire game, and it's super cheap. Tall bird eggs also never spoil, meaning you can stockpile them to make these as you need them, which makes this an easy S-tier dish, competing for almost the best dish in the entire game, honestly. Yes, I would say this dish is better than meatballs, which I feel like should be obvious. It's very good. Next up, we have stuffed pepper poppers. This dish provides 25 hunger and 30 health at the cost of 5 sanity. It also spoils in around 15 days. This dish honestly feels like it's only here to stop you from making the much more superior pierogi due to its higher priority and the fact that it too also requires meat. So, as such, I'm deeming this dish to be a punishment dish and ranking it as F tier. The only reason you should grow chili peppers is if you're Worley and you want spices, not to make stuffed pepper poppers. I hate these things. Next up, we have Breakfast Skillet. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling incredibly slowly for an egg-based dish once again. Breakfast Skillet is a weird dish, because if you just add a little meat, you'll get pierogi, which is much better for healing. And hunger-wise, it just barely comes out profitable because of its vegetable requirement. But hey, it's there, it's mid, so I'll throw it in C tier. Next up, we have stuffed nightcap. Raise your hand if you knew this dish existed. Now go ahead and lower your hand because I know you're a liar. It provides 25 hunger at the cost of 20 health and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. For the player, this dish is horrendous, as not only will it sap your health and sanity much like monster lasagna, it will also put you to sleep. The real benefit of this dish is supposedly to put other creatures to sleep by baiting them to eat it, but if you're at the point where you can comfortably dive into the Lunar Grotto, which is what you need to get the ingredients for this dish, you should be able to handle most of the meat-eating mobs in the roster. I'm honestly not sure why Clay added this dish, it's just straight up an F tier. It would have been cool to have this act like eating a mandrake and put everything to sleep around you, including yourself, but letting you wake up faster or something. I don't know. Just something to make it so much less forgettable. They shadow added this in an update, and nobody even noticed because it's just so bad. It's so bad. All right, let's move on. The final Don't Starve Together exclusive dish that's edible is the Milkmaid Hat, and I saved it for last because, well, it's incredibly unique. It provides the most hunger out of any dish in the game at 187.5 hunger, but it does that over the course of 4 minutes. It's pretty expensive, but honestly, due to the fact that it never spoils, I'm still giving it an S tier. Fight me on this if you want, but any food that can be stockpiled indefinitely is super awesome in my eyes. You can just keep a few of these around base in an emergency and pop one on when you're getting hungry. Also, no, I will not be talking about ambrosia, steamed twigs, or beefalo treats in this video because all of those are inedible and their uses are obvious. So let's go ahead and move on to Worley's segment. If you're playing Worley, you know that you have access to a much larger menu than the rest of the cast. And here's where we'll start with Asparagispacho. It provides 25 hunger, 3 health, and 10 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. While Worley's dishes are usually pretty good, this one's incredibly boring on paper. But while I did say I wouldn't mention it, this dish is actually one of the ones that will manipulate your temperature. Unlike other temperature manipulating dishes, this one actually is pretty strong. It will stop you from overheating for around 5 entire minutes. While it's not that great, I do again appreciate Crockpot dishes with special effects, so I'll give it a B tier. The only thing that docks it points is that it's asparagus, and asparagus does not grow during summer, which is the only season it's really useful in, so you'll have to stockpile your asparagus in spring. Next up, we have fish cordon bleu. Is that how you say it? Wait a minute.
Fish cordon bleu.
Yeah, that dish. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and costs 10 sanity. It also spoils in 8 days, which is weird. I don't know why 8 days. Either way, this is another attempt by Clay to make a special dish because it will make you immune to wetness for 5 minutes. The problem is, unless you're WX78, wetness is usually always a non-issue. It's still cool that it's unique though, but it's wetness. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C tier. I can't dock it too much because it is unique. I gotta appreciate Clay for making it unique. Next up, we have Hot Dragon Chili Salad. It provides 25 hunger, costs 3 health, and provides 10 sanity. It spoils in 15 days, and if you couldn't tell, this dish is the opposite of asparagus gazpacho. It will keep you warm for 5 entire minutes. The problem with this dish though, is that dragon fruit, its main ingredient, only grows properly in summer and spring. That means unless you have bundling wraps, you're most likely not going to be able to make this dish when it matters the most, which is winter. For that, I'm giving it a D tier. Because it's still usable, it's just the crop choices are kind of strange. The next Worley exclusive dish is Glowberry Mousse. It provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and 10 sanity. It also spoils in around 8 days. This dish's special effect is that it will provide a light radius to whoever consumed it for a whopping 2 entire in-game days. This dish is actually surprisingly good, especially for rushing the ruins since you can make it with 4 lesser glowberries. And it can carry you up until you get a Magiluminescence. The fact that it provides light without taking up any slots on your body is quite nice too, so you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give this an S tier. There's straight up nothing to complain about, and it's actually a phenomenal use for glowberries. Next up, we have Grim Galette. This dish provides 25 hunger, but its special effect is that it will swap your health and sanity values. It also spoils in around 10 days. This dish is, strange. I can only see one good use for it, and that's if you're like fighting Celestial Champion or something, where your sanity will naturally be very high, and your health very low if you're getting hit a lot. But other than that, it's usually pretty bad. Cool effect though. I'll still give it a C because of that, much like the other, the fish cordon one. But it's not totally useless, I guess. I don't know. I can't sit here and defend it too long though. Next up, we have Moqueca. I hope I said that one right as well. It provides 112.5 hunger, 60 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils, again, in that strange 8-day time period. So what special effect does this dish have? Well, nothing. But that doesn't stop it from being a GOAT. It has some of the best stat per ingredients in the entire game. Unfortunately, it does require you to farm, but it is still totally worth it. It's got a lot of hunger in there, and a lot of health, and a lot of sanity. I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A tier. It's a great all-arounder dish. Okay, I might be willing to lower this to B, but I still think it's pretty good, okay? It's a good dish. Next up, we have Bone Bouillon. It provides 150 hunger, 32 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Much like Moqueca, this dish is one of the most efficient dishes in the game when it comes to stats. It does require farming again, but if you have some onions, it's absolutely worth it. Now, bone shards can be collected through dubious methods, making us wonder what Worley's true intentions are with making this dish, but that's not the focus of this video, okay? This dish is great, another solid A tier. It's only held back by the fact that it requires onions, which sadly won't grow year-round, making this dish not really a year-round dish. Next up, we have Volt Goat, you know what, I'm just gonna say jelly, okay? Yeah, Volt Goat Jelly. It provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and 10 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. This dish has a special effect, that being that it allows you to deal electrical damage with all of your attacks for 5 entire minutes. Which is really cool, especially because electrical stuff just got buffed a little bit ago. I do definitely think that this dish is overhyped, however. Yes, it is powerful, but it requires goat horns. Volt goats are very annoying to ranch, and as such, I don't think this dish makes Whirly worth it on its own, like some people say. It's still powerful though, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B tier. Next up, we're going to talk about Monster Tartare twice, because it's like one of the only dishes that changes between Don't Starve Together and Don't Starve Shipwrecked Whirly. Don't Starve Together Monster Tartare provides 62.5 hunger while costing 20 health and sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. At this point, just make meatballs. This dish sucks even if it's a better monster lasagna. I'm putting this one in F tier. Shipwrecked Monster Tartare is a little different. It now requires an egg, but it provides 37.5 hunger, 3 health, and 10 sanity. It also still spoils in 10 days. It's pretty mediocre in Shipwrecked, but it's better than Don't Starve Together's version, so I'm going to at least give it a D tier. It is still usually better to make meatballs. Or since you have the Shipwreck DLC on, go make Surf and Turf, which is a much better use of 2 monster meat. Next up, we have Fresh Fruit Crepes. It provides 150 hunger, 60 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in around 10 days. This dish is probably the single best use case for butter in the entire game, as it's essentially beefed up waffles. But it does require butter, which holds it back a little since you do have to gamble for it, but it's still pretty good all things considered, so I'll go ahead and give it B tier. Don't go hunting for butter specifically for this dish, but if you have it and are a Whirly or happen to have a Whirly on your team, go for it. It's good. It's a good dish. Next up, we have Puffed Potato Souffle. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. I'm not entirely sure why this dish exists, to be honest. It's kind of like a slightly weaker creamy potato puree. I guess if all you have is potatoes, it's fine, but garlic grows in all of the same seasons as potatoes. In fact, garlic grows in every single season. So if you're potato farming, you may as well just go ahead and garlic farm at the same time. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a D tier. It feels like a dish that takes away from a better dish that's just better than it in every way. I don't know. Finally, before we move on to the Shipwrecked dishes by themselves, Whirly has 2 Shipwrecked exclusive dishes, starting with Mussel Bouillabaisse. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. This dish is pretty meh, honestly, as are most Shipwrecked exclusive dishes because of how easy it is to just eat jellyfish and go about your day, but it is probably the best use of mussels, I'll give it that, and as such, I'll go ahead and give it C tier. And lastly, Whirly's final special dish, we have Sweet Potato Souffle. It provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. This dish is sadly pretty horrible, much like the other puffed potato souffle. And I'm kind of sad to say this because I love sweet potato souffle in real life, but here you get less hunger for the ingredients, and the health and sanity gains aren't really worth it. This is an F tier dish. Sorry, Whirly. I guess even a sous chef can't hit all of his marks. But hey, it's all over now. We can move on to all the other dishes. Now it's time to move on to the Shipwrecked dishes. Some of these did actually make their way over to Don't Starve Together, so we're gonna go ahead and start with those, as are the Hamlet dishes that are within Don't Starve Together as well. But either way, we're gonna go ahead and start with Banana Pops. It provides 12.5 hunger, 20 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 3 days. I really have nothing to complain about for this dish. It's simple, cheap, and effective. And if you have bananas, which are relatively easy to acquire in both games if you know what you're doing, it's a good dish. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A tier. Next, we have California Rolls. They provide 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 10 sanity. They also spoil in 10 days. California Rolls are honestly pretty forgettable. They have mediocre stats compared to their ingredients, and I usually will opt for different dishes with its ingredients. It's not useless though, since the health gained is alright, so I'll go ahead and give it a D tier. Next up, we have Ceviche. It provides 25 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling in 10 days. This one is very similar to California rolls, and you're usually better off just making a different dish with the ingredients you used. But it's still not useless for health though, so again, it goes in D tier. Next up, we have Surf and Turf. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 60 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Now, this is a good dish right here. While it's not effective at all for hunger, if you need health and sanity, it's absolutely great. And as a fun fact, this dish has a higher priority than monster lasagna, so you can safely use 2 or more monster meat in this recipe with absolutely zero fear. Yeah, this dish is going in S tier. It's good stuff, man. I love me some surf and turf. Next up, we have Seafood Gumbo. It provides 37.5 hunger, 40 health, and 20 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Seafood Gumbo is alright. The healing's pretty great, but it does require a lot of fish value, and I'd rather just make Surf and Turf. It's even worse in Don't Starve Together though, since for some reason you always need an eel to make it. I'm not sure why. Either way, I'm gonna go ahead and give this dish a C tier, and would probably bring it down to F for Don't Starve Together because I'm not going to get an eel for this dish, come on now. Next up, we have Lobster Bisque. This dish provides 25 hunger, 60 health, and 10 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Lobster Bisque is one of the 2 lobster dishes, and it's by far the more accessible one. Honestly, it's not that bad. It heals for a ton, and lobsters are easy to catch in both versions of the game, so I'll go ahead and give it B tier. I'm not gonna go out of my way to catch lobsters for this, but if I got them, man, that's some good health. The other lobster dish is Lobster Dinner. It provides 37.5 hunger, 60 health, and 50 sanity. It also spoils significantly slower than Bisque. You get no extra health from this compared to Bisque, and its hunger gains are pretty weak, and you have to use a much rarer ingredient, which is butter, to make it. So honestly, I would rather use butter for ice cream if sanity is really an issue, and as such, this dish is going to get a D tier. Again, much better uses for that butter, man. Save it. Before we move on to single player exclusives, there is a Hamlet dish that also made its way over to Don't Starve Together that we should talk about. It's asparagus soup. This dish provides 18.75 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. Now, to be frank with you, asparagus soup sucks, like bad. It's bad for hunger, sanity, and it's only mediocre in health returns. It almost feels like a punishment dish, and I think it might be a punishment dish. I'm not sure what Clay has against asparagus, but either way, this is getting an F tier. Finally, it's time to move on to true single-player exclusives. We're gonna start with the shipwreck dishes first. Bisque provides 18.75 hunger, a whopping 60 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Limpets are incredibly easy to acquire en masse in Shipwrecked, and so is ice if you make an ice maker, and it will carry you until the point where you can make Surf and Turf, a solid A tier dish, only held back because it's overshadowed by Surf and Turf. Next up, we have caviar. This dish provides 12.5 hunger, 3 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Roe is much better used in fish farms to provide you with consistent fish income, not making caviar. The only time I could see this dish being useful is if you already filled up all your fish farms, and at that point, simply go make more fish farms. This dish is going in F tier. Next up, we have Jelly-O-Pop. It provides 12.5 hunger, 20 health, and 0 sanity. It also spoils very quick at 3 days. This dish is another F tier dish. Next up, we have Shark Fin Soup. This dish provides 12.5 hunger, 40 health, and costs 10 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Shark Fin Soup is unique in that it will give you naughtiness when you eat it, and is one of the only dishes to do so. It's nothing too crazy though. Honestly, it's a lot better to use shark fins to make speed hats rather than this dish, especially because, again, it's outclassed by both cooked jellyfish and Surf and Turf when it comes to healing. So it's gonna get F tier. In both real life for its environmental impacts, because you should not be eating shark fin soup in real life, it's really bad for the environment, and in game because of how bad it is ingredient-wise. Next up, we have Tropical Bouillabaisse. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 10 days. Now this dish is very unique as it will cool you down, give you a speed boost, dry you off, and prevent you from taking wave damage when on a boat for a short period of time. It does require all 3 special fish which can be obtained in a fish farm, but hey, if you have them, this is absolutely worth it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in A tier. It's only held back by the work it requires, and it's not really that good. And finally, to finish off Shipwrecked, we have Coffee, which provides 9.375 hunger for some reason, 3 health, and it costs 5 sanity to drink. It also spoils in 10 days. Honestly, I'm not sure why you would make this dish. As you can see, it sucks. Is what I would say if I was an evil doppelganger of myself. No, I saved the best for last, everyone. Coffee gives you a massive speed boost for 4 entire minutes. It's literally almost double your base speed, and because speed is king in Don't Starve, and it makes this game so much more fun, this dish is going in its own category of S+ tier. The best dish in the game. It's a shame it's not in Don't Starve Together, but honestly, I can see why. The game gets so much easier when you move at double speed. Just play 3-speed Circuit WX in Don't Starve Together if you want to LARP as a coffee enjoyer, and you'll see the raw power of having coffee. Now let's go ahead and move on to the Hamlet dishes, starting with Fiajada. I hope I said that one right too. It provides 75 hunger, 20 health, and 15 sanity. It also spoils in 8 days. Bean bugs are not the easiest thing to acquire in Hamlet, as you can only get them from chance by flipping rocks, but this dish is by far the best way to use them. It's an incredibly solid dish held back by its ingredient being luck-based. So I'll go ahead and give it an A tier. Because again, if you got the bean bugs, you might as well use them, man. The other bug-based dish is Gummy Cake. It provides a massive 150 hunger, but costs 3 health and 5 sanity to eat. It also spoils very slowly at 20 days. Due to how cheap this dish is and how much hunger it gives, it is insanely good. Gummy slugs are found the same way as bean bugs, but this dish is just so good that I have to give it an S tier. You do have to kill a gummy slug though, which is rather sad. Next up, we have Hard Shell Tacos. This dish provides 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity. It also spoils in 15 days. While not a phenomenal dish by any means, its ingredients are all efficient, and weevils can be farmed en masse since they spawn in crazy numbers in tall grass patches. They even sometimes will farm themselves thanks to how aggressive they are to the local wildlife, and I feel comfortable putting this in B tier. It's safe to forget about, but it's really not that bad. Next up, we have Iced Tea. This dish provides 12.5 hunger, 3 health, and 33 sanity. It also spoils in 6 days. It's not a bad dish at all for sanity, and it even gives you a small speed boost, nothing compared to coffee of course, but collecting orange picos for it is just too much effort, honestly. If you own Shipwrecked, just world hop and get yourself some coffee and embrace insanity. I'll give this dish a C tier. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just the ingredients suck. You can also make a hot version of tea if you don't use ice, but it seems like it's literally the same thing as iced tea. The only difference is that it spoils into iced tea. So it's better to just make hot tea for the extra day of spoilage, but it still gets the same ranking since it's functionally identical. If you're gonna make tea though, make the hot tea, that way you get the extra day of spoilage, like I said. Next up, we have Meated Nettles. They provide 37.5 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity, while also spoiling in 8 days. There's that magic 8-day number again. I'm not sure where this is coming from. Either way, Meated Nettles are one out of the 2 nettle dishes whose primary function is to hold back Lush Season's allergy mechanic. And Meated Nettles are the most efficient if you want to conserve nettles. If you have a bunch of nettles though, the next dish is much better, and as such, I'll give this guy an A tier. Nettle Rolls provide 25 hunger, 20 health, and 5 sanity. They also spoil in 6 days. Nettle rolls will give you the most allergy relief during lush season, and if you have a huge nettle farm, they actually aren't a bad way to heal up. Having no allergies for a long time is the main perk though, and that alone is enough for me to give it S tier, because it prevents allergies for a very, very long time. Next up, we have Snake Bone Soup. It provides 25 hunger, 40 health, and 10 sanity, while also spoiling in 10 days. Snake Bone Soup's main thing is that it's the only use of Pugilisk bones, and it's meant to be a reward since they heal a ton and you can safely use 2 monster meat in the recipe, much like Surf and Turf. It's a great recipe. The only complaint I have is that I don't think it alone is worth fighting the Pugilisk. But hey, I mean, if you already fought the Pugilisk, which you probably will eventually, it is a benefit, and so I'll go ahead and give it an A tier. Spicy Vegetable Stinger is identical in every way to its Don't Starve Together counterpart, which is regular Vegetable Stinger, except you can use radishes. Don't ask me why I didn't just add this on earlier, I forgot about it. Either way, this dish is still pretty good in Hamlet, especially because sanity can be hard to manage there, so I'm actually going to give this one a solid B tier, which I think is the same I gave to Don't Starve Together's Stinger, but yeah, moving on. The final dish in all of the canonical Don't Starve-averse that I will be talking about is steamed ham sandwiches. They provide 37.5 hunger, 40 health, and 15 sanity, while spoiling in 6 days. Steamed ham sandwiches are also the only food that requires ferns, which are largely unrenewable unless you are okay with teleportatoing your world. Unfortunately, because it's hard to renew, and it's easily replaced by other dishes, I'm giving this a D tier. I did not save the best for last. Sorry, guys. And yeah, that was a long one. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Anyways, all that talk about food made me hungry, so I'm gonna go make myself some food. See you all in the next one. Watch this video if you want to see some more content. Polarlotus out. Bye-bye.